Hello, this is Spellbinder with a very upsetting article I've come across today. The outcome of the G20 meeting up in Canada. This is part of what they agreed on by 2016, and it's not a pretty sight. It's not pretty at all for the mankind. Here we go. July 7, 2010 by Daniel for henrymacau.com. According to most media reports, the recent Toronto G20 summit was a failure. However, if one understands that the real goal is not to repair the economy, but indeed cripple it in order to impose a dreadful new formula of global governance on mankind, then G20 summit was a resounding success, albeit a sinister one. As what was the outcome of that weekend in late June 2010? The participating nations, or should one say the political bureau of the world, brought forth a quite substantial closing declaration, almost a treaty, defining their brutal goals as well as their timeline. Ever angelic and distant pre-1989 times, Committee Marxist-Leninist German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who has assumed the leading role in advancing this new formula of de facto communist world government bull, said, "We are going to stop our economic stimulus policies, through which we will use to run into even more debt, and will, as industrial nations, have our new debts until 2013. And in a second step, from 2013 to 2016, the G20 agreed to gradually reach zero new debt, which means, of course, even more economic contractions." But after 2016 comes the real thing, paying back all national debt, as ever with interest and compound interest. The monetary magicians from whom we, as states, as companies, as private persons, have been borrowing valueless out of thin air paper over decades and centuries, now demand their money, this time, however, in real value and real property. As Chancellor Merkel explains, that time mark is 2016. That means that countries should then have reached a balanced budget, so to take into view the reduction of the sum of total of debt itself. Mankind will get utterly strangled, and no question the results of this programming will be horrendous poverty, starvation, and death on an unimaginable scale, like all sick Hollywood doomsday movies combined, with this one single bizarre objective, the creation of a radically new world with a sharply reduced population, less than 10% of the present level. In other words, 80% go bye-bye. And thoroughly cleansed of all the superstitions and all the traditional sentiments of the old days. In other words, French Revolution plus Bolshevik Revolution revisited. Yeah, they're going to get rid of religion and everything. You won't have your religion. You'll be a worship the nature religion or something. But don't worry, Mutti, as the Germans call Angela Merkel, has a word of comfort. This exit strategy out of debt, finance, economy, stimulus policy will be very demanding and for many certainly a big task. U.S. debt. As of July 6, 2010, the United States outstanding public debt amounts to $13.2 trillion. Divided by an estimated population of 308,690,000, this makes a per capita public debt only from newborns to Garrett of roughly $42,760 for every man, woman, and child. Then add the suicidal load of private debt most Americans are struggling under, though more often self-inflicted than not, and you get the perfect foundation for the ultimate enslavement. For other industrial countries, the same story basically applies, so we're all going to get hoodwinked into this. A few months ago, at the peak of the Greek fiscal crisis, Director of Internal Monetary Fund Dominique Strauss-Kahn was asked by one journalist how he can be so sure that the IMF will ever get back the money from the insolvent Greece. His answer, with a relaxed smile on his lips, evil as it was that so far they've never had any problems. Why, they can be confident because they're in the position to make sure they get what they want. They already have it set up. I don't know how. All you need is the government to turn against them, and they won't have no power. Specter of the carbon tax. Finally, we're not only dealing with this murderously abrupt shift in paradigms from an insane culture of debt to an ultra-disciplined culture of alleged economic truth. That applies only for us, not for the money lenders, because they're above God and law and everything. Ask them, they'll tell you so. There is also the pressure from the anthropogenic climate change front. It's all one and the same, hidden hand at work anyways. That makes things even 1,000 times more absurd. Therefore, on top of all debt reduction comes the monstrous threat of huge whatever fictitious carbon taxation, for which purpose the Deepwater Horizon catastrophe could well have been most cynically designed, not only to debulk the United States once and for all, but also to bring everybody over to the anti-fossil fuel and heavy CO2 taxation, so they can just rob you blind forever. You'll be a peasant living on your own land, if it is your own land. I'm thinking feudalism. And its true sense they're trying to go. I'm sure these people want to be wearing silly crowns and robes and prance around and say, worship me, I am king, queen, or whatever. I can see it coming. It's clear they are determined to break our backbone by whatever means, and there are many, and unless they can be stopped or a miracle happen, there still rules God in heaven, we won't recognize our world, say, in 10 years' time. In fact, our world, the world as we know it, the world we grew up into, the world that we loved and admired and traveled through, will be gone. A postscript. Has anybody had a revelation from the Toronto G20 logo? A mere depiction of Toronto's huge CN tower? Look at it again. Could this depict a bird's claw? Controlled and thereby imprisoned by a metal ring around its leg. Looking at right there, the metal ring around its leg, the talons. Yeah, I can see that. For those who want to read the full document of the G20 Concluding Declaration, can be read here. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4. And these are the books. I'm not going to go through them. I may put these at the bottom of my video, and you can go through and look at all this. I think I can get all that on there. But this is what they want. This is what they're going to do. You may not know this, but you are all screwed now. Well, that's about all I wanted to say. I did this once before, but I was spitting fire. I was so mad before reading this. I had to do it over again and compose myself a little bit because of Witch here and all the other sorcerers out there that are running the economies with voodoo economy. That's what I'd call it. They just make this stuff up out of thin air. It's not real. Nothing's real in it. It's all fake. And they expect us to pay for it. They've made this money up for hundreds of years. Just printed money, made it up, nothing backing it. They took the gold standard away as soon as they could, and the silver. So nothing backs the money. So it's just paper that we're believing that it's worth something. And as long as we're caught under that illusion or that spell by these sorcerers and witches, we're going to be under their power and under their control. If we don't rise up and stop these people immediately, they will get away with what they're saying they're going to do. And we're going to all be like 1984, a head with a boot stomping on it forever. And if you want that, you want to be a slave, well, just put your head between your legs and hide. Go and hide and wait and see. And you'll find out. And then they drag you out and then shackle you and put the chip in you. And you'll know where you're at. You're in the Antichrist world then. Oh well. Until next time, this is Spellbinder. Have a good day. Be good at it. Prepare, get ready, fight against this. Good day.